have a lot of really shitty days when it's like, what the hell am I doing? And then you have a lot of really good days when it's like, okay, this is worth it. It's like this roller coaster where it's like, there's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows.
Welcome to the Human Ambition Podcast, guys. This is the Vancouver Takeover.
This is where we interview special guests aspiring to be entrepreneurs, musicians, artists, passionate people sharing their story of challenging and defying the odds in the world. Today we have...
I'm Stanley, the creative director of Truth Media, and yeah, I'm a young creator like you guys too, just like love life, love helping other people do what they want to do, and it's like that's one of the reasons why my business partner and I actually started Truth Media, to actually help people live their truth. So yeah, like that's what we do.
Hi man, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for coming out.
Honestly, like, thank you guys for having me out. It's
I
like,
appreciate you, man.
yeah, it's always fun to connecting with other people, like you said, like sharing stories, because like
Right.
for me, as much as I like sharing my stories, like I like listening to other people's stories, like because like I always get little nuggets and gems
Yeah.
from how people are doing whatever they're doing. So it's like I'm learning too, because that's one thing like you never stop learning.
Yeah, we can all learn from each other,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
It's always good to share our knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the first question was, tell us about your upbringing, man.
Yeah,
growing up.
Childhood.
Yeah, so like I was saying before, like I am from Zimbabwe, so that's in Southern Africa, and basically for me, like I had a very, I guess, interesting childhood where it's like my dad was traditional, straight African. That's like go to school, get a good job, and everything will work out for you. And like my mom was more the relaxed one. Where it's like everything that I wanted to do creatively, like my mom was like, hey, as long as you're happy, just go out there and do it. So like I did a bunch of stuff in school. I played a lot of sports. Like I was involved creatively. Like I was in the music band. Like I was a singer. Like I was in the choir. Like I played a lot of instruments. Like I tried to do as much as I could. And like I really loved technology. And then I think when I was deciding where to go, like I wanted to move to Canada because like I was fortunate enough because like my mom was a flight attendant and like my dad had a good job because he works for Coca Cola. Like I got to travel like a lot of the places in the world. It's like I hadn't been to North America, and I was like, let me go to Canada because I didn't want to go to the States because I didn't want to do SATs. So I'm like, I've had enough school. I'm like, I'm not trying to do that again. And then I have family in Canada too, so I was like, you know what, why not? And I had friends, like I said, like one of my friends, Buck from Frontrunners, he was here too, and like a bunch of other people I knew. I was like, it's a place to go. And like the biggest thing for me, like although I had people here, I wanted to go somewhere where I was far away and like I was outside my comfort zone, like not know that many people, and just like see how much I would learn about myself and just to grow. And it's probably one of the best decisions I've made because I think that's shaped a lot of the things I've done right now. Obviously like the things before that as well, but it's like it's just a combination of things where I look back in the past like 4 years I've been in Canada, it's like it's mind blowing that some of the things that have happened. And it's like it's a lot of trials, a lot of tribulations too. So like people, I think our age always look down at them failing, but it's like I think it's like the failures that actually help you realize what you want to do. Like they show you how strong you are as a person. Because I think for me, like the times where like I was like rock bottom was like it can't get any worse, and it's like you know like the only way is up from there. Like it's one of those cliche things that people actually say.
Yeah.
Until you experience it, like damn, like this is actually true. So it's like that for me was a very interesting experience for me because I had to learn how to make new friends. And like
Especially coming from a different
exactly,
country.
it's like it's very different. Like Zimbabwe, like is a very like conservative country where it's like people don't really like to start a lot of commotion. Like you don't have that much room to actually express yourself and be creative. So it's like it's very traditional in that sense, but like there's a lot of really good values I've learned from that. But like here, like my mind was open because like I got to try a lot of new things, got to meet a lot of different people, different cultures too, different personalities, different perspectives. I think that's what's helped me as well because like I feel like I was saying before, like I feel like I learned a lot from that when I sit down with someone and I figure out, okay, like why do you believe the things that you believe, or like why do you do the things that you do? And for me, I've realized if one and two things happens, like if you agree with them, your values become stronger, and if you don't agree with them, like you figure out like why. For me, I don't believe in those things, and it's like it's interesting perspective because like a lot of the things I believe growing up, having grown up in Zimbabwe, I realized like half the shit I believe is like it's ridiculous. Like it's like you know stuff that you're told because of your culture, because of your parents and the people around you. Like this makes no sense. And then like there's a lot of things like, you know, like it makes a lot of sense. Like for me, like I value like family and relationships are really big values I care about, because without that I think I wouldn't be the person I am without my family, and like I wouldn't be the person I am without the people I know, because I think that's probably the biggest resource that you have. Like money can come and go, but the relationships and the networks you build, like those can take you anywhere in the world, like literally. Like it's
so true.
Yeah, it's people don't understand that.
The value of what is it, net worth?
Network.
Your network could be better than your net worth, right? Because the more people you know, like so many other doors can open for you,
exactly.
Right? And it's something that we don't value today, right?
Yeah, like if people, don't get me wrong, like people value relationships and friendships, but not to that certain extent of where they think it is, right?
Yeah.
So like it's everything. You're right, man.
Yeah.
100%.
I think people only value it because like they look at it as, what is it that I can get from that person?
Right.
You know.
And then once I'm finished with that person, I gotta move on to find somebody else, right?
And it's for me, like I made that mistake too, like a couple of years ago, where it's like I didn't treat a lot of people with respect, and I did a lot of shitty things, and I think that's why for me I value it now, because I treated those people in a really shitty way, and then when the tables are turned now, like they're in positions where they could help me, or like I needed something from them, they're like, no, because of this and that, and like I respected them for that, because sometimes you have to put your foot down, like, and that's how it is. Like for me, like that's when it hit me, and I was like, oh shit, you know, like you have to treat everyone with respect, and that's something like my dad always used to teach me too. Like it doesn't matter who it is. It's like it could be people that are below you, people above you. If you treat everyone the same way, they'll never have anything bad to say about you. And it's like that's why, like for me, like even if I haven't met you, I always treat you with respect. Like I try to get to know you, try to build a connection.
Yeah.
It's not always easy with everyone you meet, but it's like I try to do that. And it's like for me, like I've made a lot of really good relations with. Like it's like I think it's weird. Like there's almost everywhere I go, I know someone there.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like I'm walking in the street, like hey man, like hey, like we met there. Like half the time I don't even remember where I met. I was like, but I remember the face.
Yeah.
Like even like how I met you. Like it's like I'd seen you somewhere, just couldn't pinpoint where it was. So it's like
it feels good, right?
Yeah, it feels good. Like just like people, it's like the small things that people just like remembering your name, like what you're doing. It's like it actually makes it authentic, and like that's how even like for me, like truth media is a really big thing for me, because like I was reading Charlemagne's book Black Privilege, good read. Like I wasn't really a big reader before. I recommend people should read a lot of books. Like that book changed my life. It's like, and he was saying you should always live your truth and like treat people with respect, and just like getting to build connections just to actually genuinely know people.
Wow. What was the title of that book?
Black Privilege.
Was it Charlemagne the God?
Charlemagne the God.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I think I saw it on Gary Vee's podcast or something.
Trust me, it's a good. It's like
It's a good one.
it's a very real book, very authentic. Like it's no bullshit. Like and it's like even with that too. Like there's so many nuggets from that book that have shaped me as a person. Like I try to live by those principles.
Nice.
Not always, but like I try my level best to do that. So it's like, yeah, it's always interesting. It's like hearing people's perspective, and it's like talking to different people.
Definitely. So how was it like moving up to Canada 4 years ago? What was like the first thing you did?
The first year was, I think, probably like very interesting for me, because a lot of things happened, and it's like I didn't experience as much as I should have. And the thing is, like when you first move somewhere, it's like, okay, I want to take everything in, but it's kind of hard. Like I stuck to the same group of people that I knew before, because like I moved here with a bunch of Zimbabweans that I knew, and because it's like sometimes it's hard taking that leap of faith. I'm like, you know what, like I'm just gonna go out in the world and like make new friends. So like the first couple of years, I think the first year I stuck with the same people, and then like slowly I started realizing that let me just branch out, like speak to different people, and just like hang out with different people, and like figure out like what Vancouver has to offer. It's pretty amazing, because like I got to hang out with a lot of different people from different backgrounds, like I said before. It's like people with different mindset, like that really helped me. But it's definitely really hard getting outside your comfort zone, especially with something like that.
Yeah.
When you live in a place and you've lived with the same mentality for like 19 years, and then for you to move and try to break that cycle is pretty hard. But it was interesting. Like I made a lot of really good friends, people I'm still really good friends with right now, where it's like I meet them, it's like I might not see them for like 6 months or a year. Like you meet them, it's like, hey, like nothing's changed, and like those people really shaped the person I am today. And then through that, like I did a bunch of things. I got involved in a lot of clubs, met with a lot of people, just like tried to do as much as I could. Things that I think for me, like it was just like trying new things out. That was the biggest thing. Is like figuring out, okay, like if I like something, why do I like it? Or if I don't like it, like if I don't like something, why don't I like it? So like I try to get my hands on everything.
Cool.
And that really how like I've worked in a lot of so it's like for me it's like it doesn't make sense when you're in the situation, but it's only when you look back. And it's like all the steps will make sense. Like for me, I always try to do 100% everything that I did. So it's like I remember when I first moved, I played rugby in high school. So like SFU had a rugby team. So I joined that and I made a lot of really good friends with that too. And those friends, like I remember I was looking for a job. They're like, hey, like I posted in the rugby group chat. I'm like, hey guys, I'm looking for a job. A bunch of people sent me a lot of different places. Like I got a couple of jobs there, and then funny actually, like my first job was at this candy store, and I got fired within the first hour. Yeah, it's like I got home, I was pretty devastated, and it wasn't even my fault too, so it was like pretty shitty. So
what happened?
So basically what happened is there's this candy store that was right before Valentine's Day, I think a week before, and like at the time I was looking for a job, so I just like went around, gave my resume, and this lady was looking for a couple of people to just like help out with the store. I'm like, okay, cool. And it's like come back tomorrow. I'm like excited. It's like my first job. I'm like first job here. I'm like, okay, let's get it. And then so basically the lady who was training me, like she wasn't the manager, just told me to do a couple of tests, and then I was like doing them. And I was watching them because like they make like special like fruit baskets, like a bunch of stuff like that. And then I didn't know how to do it, so like obviously I had to watch. And then so there's like a little window in the store in the back that goes to the back, and there's like a window that shows the back. So the manager came in. I think she was just in a really shitty mood that day. She looked through that window and it looked like I was just standing doing nothing. But obviously, like I'm new, like I don't know anything. I have to watch.
Right.
And then she left. She called me and then she's like, "Hey, I'm not paying you to stand around and do nothing. So just like just go home. Like I'll pay you for the hours that you work today." And I'm just like,
wow.
Don't come back.
That's
And
cool.
it's like,
That's cool, just like that.
yeah, it's like imagine like how it feels. Like literally, I got fired within the first hour. It's like
Yeah.
damn, like
And you had no control, right?
no control. And so it's like
Yeah.
damn. It's like
That's
I went home. Was like fuck. Had a pre-party and like man, maybe I'm a pretty dumb dude. Like how do you get fired in the first hour? And it's like,
Yeah.
and then that happened, and like I kept looking for a job, and then I was walking around downtown, and then I gave my resume to the chaps on Granville, and then gave my resume. Like the guy really liked me. I got hired instantly. He's like, "Hey man, like you look like a really cool dude." Like, and I guess like I'm a very like sociable person. He's like, "Hey man, I need more people like that." And then I worked there. I'm still working there as well, like just part time.
Nice.
And I've been there for 3 years, and it's like the small things that I've learned there, like they're invaluable to me. It's like how to connect with people, because with there, like you're not just selling stuff. They want you to connect with people that are coming in. So it's like with that, you're learning to connect with a 15-year-old who's a hype beast, you know, who's probably doesn't really care. He just wants to spend money, or you're connecting with a mom for West Van who's buying something for like her snobby kid. You know, it's like different types of people. It's like, or that crackhead who, you know, just got money from the government and just like wants to buy something. So it's like learning to connect with different people, and like again, still treating them with respect. And it's like that was an interesting like experience for me too. And then one of my friends, and then after my second year, like I started going out more, because in my first year I didn't go out a lot, and then I was going out every other weekend for like a year. And one of my friends, he's a club owner, he's like, "Hey man, like I see you here all the time, like you know a bunch of people, why don't you just come work for the company that I work for, like you can still get in for free and then get free drinks and get your friends to come in and get paid." I was like, that's a sweet deal. I'm like, not like what do I have to lose? And then with that too, like I made a whole bunch of like connections and met a lot of really cool people like in the music industry and in other industries too, because one thing I realized is like people just want to make connections, and like people think networking is like you have to go to events for that, but I've made some really good friends like at the bar where it's like randomly it's like, hey man, how's it going? And like that's it, like just waiting to get a drink. Yeah. And it's like it's one thing I think I realized as well, like being self-aware, knowing who you are and what makes you who you are is a pretty big thing, because for me I realized apparently I give up a vibe where it's like random people come up to me and we can have a conversation. Like it happens all the time. It's something that used to happen back home too. Like my mom was like, man, you should run for mayor. It's like, so it's like something I realized at a very young age, and I started harnessing that and just like talking to people, because if you can talk to anyone, you never know who the person you're talking to could be, like how they could help you. So it's like knowing who you are, knowing like what makes you you, and like knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are. I think they're a pretty big thing. Like I think self-awareness is so important. That's something I'm learning too, because a lot of people don't know that. Like and that's one thing I've learned through my experiences too. Like I took a bunch of classes too. Like again, the friend I was telling you, like Buck from Front Runners, he took a program that's called the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Certificate at SFU, and then he's like, hey man, it's like you should take it. Like I know you don't want to take electives that won't help you. It's like this might actually help you. Like even if you don't like business, like just do it. And then with that, I realized a lot of people don't know like how important self-awareness is, because once you know that, it's like if you know what triggers you or why you care about certain things, like it's very easy for you to narrow in what you want to do.
How do you think people get closer to finding self-awareness? Not like finding it right away, because that's almost possible, but like following the steps or trying to find out who they are.
I think figuring out why something is important to you. That's
like
the biggest
everything.
thing. In everything, it's like, okay, like a lot of people ask me, why do I value relationships? Right. My why is because I know I can build connections and I like connecting with people. I only figured that out because I sat down and asked, like, okay, like why is that important to me? And I had people asking me, like, what do you believe? You know, people have like this belief system that they all often have. But if you sit down and ask them why that is, they can't explain it.
Yeah.
So it's you, okay, writing it down, figure out, okay, these are things I believe, and this is why. And if you don't know why, digging deeper, okay, figure out like why that's important and why that's not important.
Why do you think, I think that's really important. I think that's true. What I also think is, why do you think people don't know why it is? Like when you ask them, what do you believe in, and then why? Do you think it's just something grown up or something they've been told, or something, everything around them, like their family and their friends, they believe in that, so they chose to believe in it too?
Yeah, it's like there isn't like one set reason for it. Like I think it's a bunch of things. It's again,
right.
It's how you're brought up, your culture, your family, your friends. I think the internet and the media has a very big part, especially on our generation, because I see it all the time where it's like people want to dress a certain way, or people act a certain way, or people have things that they do because other people are doing it, you know, like especially like with the media, like celebrities have so much impact right now, it's crazy, like, and a lot of people don't understand that. Like if you sat down and asked them like why do you dress the way you do, a lot of people can't explain it.
And it puts them in a not like comfortable situation to talk about it, so they don't go there anyways, right?
Yeah, like I think people are too afraid to be themselves. I think for me, like I had that problem as well, where it's like I always used to adapt to who I was around, depending on what type of friends I was around with. Like I would change to that, and then I got to a point where it's like I wasn't happy because I was always trying to please those people, and then you get to a point you realize like you can't please everyone. Like the moment you realize like you're gonna be happy, the only person you can make happy is yourself, and it's like it's very hard because too like you. Often it's sometimes your parents or people you really care about. It's like they might be the people that stop me from like going after your dreams, and it's like it's hard to have that conversation with them. Like, okay, like this is what I care about. Like I really cherish and value your opinion, but this is what I want to do.
Yeah. I think that's important, man. It's really important.
It's a
hard.
reflection, right?
Yeah, it's like that's the thing. Like once you start doing that, it's crazy. Like. You can even trace a lot of the reasons why you have a lot of the problems or why you think the way you do. It's crazy.
But nobody wants to go there, and I feel like once you go there, though, things become so much more easier.
Yeah.
Because then you have clarity, right, on what it is that you want. And that's the number one thing.
And that's the thing, like, it was for me, like, from a very young age, like, I didn't know why, like, I always used to like watching motivational videos or like motivational things. And for me, I realized it's because like those videos were giving me the things I didn't have. That self-awareness, like the belief that I mattered and I could be someone.
Yeah.
So by me listening to that, like subconsciously I started like listening to the message, like I started getting it more, like realizing like I could be great because I never believed that at some point.
And then once you believe it, then you know it's possible.
It's possible, and then like once you start, it's not just you believing, it's just like acting on it too. Because like once you start acting on it, like it's crazy like how thinking about it and like acting on it can actually have an impact on your life. It's like
Definitely. So now with Truth Media, how did that happen? Was that your first business or is this your
my first business actually.
Yeah?
So it's funny, it actually started off as a project.
Okay.
So me and Isabel, my business partner, we had met a couple of times. Funny story actually, like the first like photo shoot I ever did, she was one of the models there. We did a photo shoot for Aphrodite Creative. And we just kept bumping into like because we had mutual friends. And then this year in January, we happened to be in the same class together. And basically this class it's called the Business Design at SFU. And we had to come up with 4 value-based businesses. So like the first project I worked with her was with her, and it's like we had to come up with a business and have actual prototypes on like, and just go out and speak to people and see if like the business would actually work. So like we had worked in the creative industry for a while and realized, you know, like let's work on something that we love and then it'll be fun. Like we can actually put more effort into it. And then 2 weeks into it, we realized we can actually do it because we spoke to a lot of people. Spoke to a lot of creators that were our age and like, hey, like, what are the problems that you guys see? And we did that for creators and we did that for businesses, and that's how we were able to come up with Truth Media, because we realized as creatives, like, there's so many things that you think you can't do, and like that you have no opportunities. Like the hardest thing I remember when I first started is looking at all these job descriptions and realizing like they want 5 years experience or something ridiculous like that. I'm like, I'm still in school, like I've only been here 3 years, like how do I get that experience and still be in school? Or get to the point where it's like, you know I'm doing really good work, but how do I make money off of it? Or I see all these dope creators, but like how do I connect with them? Like, or how do I get to that level? Like, but because like, you feel you're not at that level, it's very hard for you to reach out to them. So we wanted to create a platform where like creators and on different skill levels can actually meet up and be like, hey, how did you get to the level where you are? How do I get there? Can you mentor me? Or what things did you do that made you better than the next person? You know, like not as a way of competing, but as helping each other out.
Right.
And then we spoke to a lot of businesses, and especially in Vancouver too, like we realized 98% of the businesses are small businesses. So a lot of them can't afford to be working with the big creative agencies because a lot of them don't take jobs. Some of them, like the really big ones, don't take any job less than 50K.
Yeah.
So it's like, how am I as a small business able to pay for 50,000? Like that's ridiculous, you know. So we realized that there's a gap in the market, and we could do jobs for them for like 2 or 3 grand or even 5 grand, and still give them the services that they wanted. And then another problem that we realized is a lot of these digital marketing agencies aren't storytelling. So they aren't actually sitting down with the business owner and saying, okay, what is your story? Like, remember how we were talking about how we like to share stories? Like, okay, like, because every business, that's how you actually connect with people. People want to emotionally be invested in your business.
Yeah.
And that's what we're focusing on doing through the storytelling, because how many times have you sat at home, like, and seen a McDonald's ad? Like, you might hate McDonald's, but because like you've emotionally connected with that ad or that video, you were able to like think about it, like, I might actually go get McDonald's today. Like it's very subconscious, but it happens all the time. So it's like,
right.
We saw these 2 gaps and we realized we could be the bridge between the two, and we just wanted to see if we could do it, and then we just did it. Like we had a lot of obstacles at first, like figuring out, okay, like how we're gonna have enough money to do it, and then we just did it.
Nice.
A lot of people are like, but you guys are so young, like why, how are you guys doing it? We did it. Like,
Do you feel like that's an obstacle, or is that just like an in your head
it's
kind
a
of thing?
it's a mindset. That's
It's a
what
mindset
it is.
thing, right?
Yeah, because like we sit down with a lot of like business owners right now. Like a lot of them are shocked every time we tell them we're still in school.
Because they're obviously older, they're
Exactly,
like 30, 40,
yeah.
50, right? Yeah.
And what's your niche?
So we focus mostly on lifestyle brands.
Cool.
And with that, lifestyle brands is a very broad term. It could be like stuff like evil, like, and it's not just lifestyle brands. I think lifestyle brands that focus on connecting people in the community, like,
Right.
because our 3 core values as an organization are community, integrity, and learning. So whenever we are looking for people to work with, like, they have to encompass all 3 of those things.
Gotcha.
And like they can do it in different ways. Like Evil is a car sharing company, but they want to help the community. Like they
You work with them, that's really cool.
Exactly. Like we want to work with companies like that, or even like a lot of restaurants like that, because we speak to a lot of people. Like we sit down and actually hear like how they got their business started, like the story behind it. It's like they're basically doing the same thing. And even if you look at our website, all the people that we've worked with, like, are doing that very same thing of like connecting the community and trying to help people out, or like trying to create a positive impact on the world. I think that's a really big thing for us. So like that's why we want to work with companies like that, and they actually believe in young people too, because the one advantage that we have over a lot of companies is because we're young millennials. A lot of these companies are like owned by older people, like the older generation. They don't know how to connect with us.
Right.
So why not hire people who are young and know how to connect with the millennial generation?
Right.
Cool.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And you started that January 2017 or January?
Yeah, January 2018 actually.
Oh,
This
so
year.
6 months
This
ago.
year, yeah.
6 months
So, like,
ago.
Wow.
6 months ago.
Wow.
Dude, that's insane. We started our podcast 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy. It just shows how much you can get done in 6
That's
months.
the thing, man. Honestly, like if you just have that mindset and that drive, you can do it. Like the only obstacle is yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, like I've seen like a lot of people make excuses for themselves. Like you ask them like, why aren't you doing it? Like they can come up with a whole list.
And they're just shutting themselves
Exactly,
down
like-
because they're telling themselves that, right?
Because like the one thing I realized is like before you do anything, you have to look at it from this perspective. Like think of what's the worst thing that could happen. If you look at it, like it's probably not that bad.
Yeah.
But what's the best that could happen? Like it could work.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. You
That's
know?
true.
Exactly.
That's
No,
true,
man,
bro.
this is
Yeah,
true.
it's-
'Cause
right.
think about it. If we,
Yeah.
when we first started, if we had thought about like what's the worst that could happen, like we haven't incorporated, like nothing. We aren't really losing it. Like we can lose maybe some money, but okay, like
Right.
you can always get money back. But what's the worst? What's the best thing that could happen?
Like everything.
Exactly.
Everything. Yeah,
Right.
dang.
That's you're
Good
so
way to
right.
Look
man.
at it, dude.
That's a really smart way to look at it, especially because people are always scared of taking that risk.
Yeah,
Like hearing other voices, whether it's inside their head or other people around them, right?
and that's the thing. Like for me, like the only way I figured that out is like I was in this space where like I could see all my friends doing amazing things in like different fields. Like I said, my friend Buck, he was getting involved with front runners. A lot of one of my friends, Crescent, he's a musician. His stuff was blowing up. I could see all these amazing people doing great things, and I'm like looking at myself, I'm like, damn, what am I doing? You know.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where I was like, I would really look down at myself. Like I got a little jealous. I'm like, why can't I be like them?
Or if not even better.
Exactly. And then I got to a point, it's like, instead of me thinking and comparing myself to them, it's like, okay, let me go back to myself, figure out like, what is it I have right now? What is it that I'm good at? Or what is it that I want to be good at? And then start focusing on that. Because if you really think about it, everyone has that one thing, you just haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
It's a really broad way to look at it. To find that clarity. Wow.
That's tight. And then
That's really cool.
how many members are on your team at this point?
Right now, it's just 2 more people, so it's just the 4 of us right now.
Nice.
So yeah, like again, like we've just started. Like we don't want to
Yeah.
expand too fast
Yeah.
because you
Right.
know
That's not the right way to do
that's
it.
the thing. And like the biggest thing is like when you start something from the ground up, you don't want to work with people who don't understand your vision,
Yeah.
because it's easy for someone to just come in in a period of 1 month, mess that all up, you know.
Yeah.
Especially when you put a lot of time and effort into it. Like this is literally like our baby. Like
Yeah.
you don't want people to just come in and mess that up. So like we're very cautious in the things that the people we work with, like the people we partner up with, the projects we take on as well, because like we know how much time and effort we've put into it. Like we've had a lot of sleepless nights where it's like the past 2 months, especially like when you wake up 7 in the morning, you're on the go, probably going to bed 1 or 2 in the morning, and then doing it all over again for like a whole week, a whole month.
Just because
just because like it's gotten to a point where it's like
it's not about you anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's like so invested. People don't understand. It's like people are like, why do you put so much time and effort into it? Like I remember like because as well like how we wanted to connect and help emerging artists. Like a couple of months ago we decided, hey, we're gonna have an event of like we'll rent out a space and then we'll just invite a couple of people, actually sit down, like the photographers, models, bloggers, like people in different industries in the creative space.
Yeah.
Just sit down and actually sit down and talk and just like make connections that way. So we had that idea and then we actually did it, and then people really loved that idea. So we wanted to make it a monthly thing. So like at the end of every month on the last Sunday, we started having those events. And then I remember the second one, we didn't have enough money to actually run the event. I was like, okay, cool, like I've been working, like we really need to get this done. We see the value and like we believed in it. So like, okay, I'm gonna put my rent money up to pay for the event.
Wow. That's crazy.
And I'm not just saying this because like I wanna like prove like the shit or anything, but I believed in it so much. And then I remember even in the ads when we were trying to sell the tickets, I'm like, the ad was, hey, can you help Stanley make his rent money this month? Like pay for his rent, like he's used his rent money, like just like help him pay his rent and he's gonna be homeless.
Wow.
People really thought it was a joke. Every time I read it, was like, nope, like I was this close to being homeless that month.
Wow. That's crazy. And how did the event turn out?
It was great. Like
There you go.
we got enough tickets.
Nice.
Like people paid enough before.
Sacrifice
so
that, right?
You know. And it's like sometimes like you have to make those hard decisions. Like okay, like again, like I said, what's the worst that could happen? I could have been homeless. Okay, like it's a pretty big thing. But
Right. But you gave it.
That's, bro.
That's I know.
Shit.
That's some people aren't willing to go to the extent.
extra
and
mile.
that's the thing.
Extra
It's
mile.
like I think now like people have romanticized like this whole like I want to be an entrepreneur or whatever, right?
Especially because whatever they see
Exactly.
on social
Like,
media.
it's like I hate those ads where it's like, hey, do you want to make $1 million? Blah blah blah. Because like
yeah, it's not that easy.
it's not that easy. Like you just don't wake up one morning and make $1 million.
Yeah.
It's like this journey where it's like
It takes work.
exactly like you have a lot of really shitty days when it's like what the hell am I doing, and then you have a lot of really good days when it's like okay, this is worth it. It's like this roller coaster where it's like there's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows, and like there's some days where it's just like it's just level. It just like feels like you're not really making that much progress, but it's just like you have to break through and just like keep going, you know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, definitely, man.
That's really
That's
cool.
nuts. That's a good perspective. But what's pushing you behind all this? Like, where's the knowledge coming from? Do you read or like are you like invested online?
Like I said before, like for me, like I've always been watching a lot of motivational videos. So like
Okay.
I watch a lot of those all the time, and then I recently started reading more.
Okay, cool.
So like I hated reading. Like I just, like, would not touch a book. But ever since I started reading more, like a lot of the videos I would watch, like you have to read. You know, like I started seeing like all the tools, like all these successful people with the things that they were doing and why they were above everyone else. And like reading was one of them. So like I started reading and like a lot of like self-help books. And then reading books with different perspective as well, and like just like watching a lot of videos. Like I watch a lot of TED Talk videos, like a lot of business videos, a lot of like creativity videos. Like I feel like every day I'm always watching a video
To improve your learning.
Exactly. And I think it's also like goes back to one of the things like my dad said. You never stop learning, but even for him, like he would always read books. Like he would always be telling me all these like really cool things that he would have learned. I think that's one thing I learned from him. Like I remember when we were younger, like he would always like make me sit down and like we would watch like stuff like the Discovery Channel, like National Geographic, like stuff about animals. Like I know really weird things about animals that I shouldn't know. It's like you're like people ask me like what drives me. It's like I said, it's just me like a lot of different events where it's just been I look back, I'm like, oh shit, like I hadn't really thought about it. It's like it's only when you put the pieces together, it's like, oh, because of this, like a domino effect, like this triggered that and that triggered that, you know, like it's not just one thing, but it's like a whole bunch of things. Like I feel like there's always something to learn.
Mhm.
People just don't take the time to actually see what's out there, you know, like especially in this fast-paced world, like people don't sit down and actually reflect. Like I think that's another thing too. Like I went to a Catholic school and I remember I think it was at midday, we had to like stop and do a reflection, and it's like we'd shut everything out and just like sit down and like reflect on the day, and like the day before as well, and like the things that are around you, and it's like you have so much to learn too. Like for me, like that's why I love nature, because I can sit down there, like it's just peaceful. Like there's so much you can learn from like nature. It's like I love like hiking and like doing like nature related stuff.
Outdoors and stuff.
Exactly.
Like
Like I love being outdoors because like it's when you're in the city, like everything's so fast paced, like you don't really have time to think. But when you're in nature, like you can actually sit down and actually like enjoy the
Process your
trees.
thoughts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Really interesting.
So we're coming towards the end of our podcast. Before we end things, what does a typical day look like for you?
Depends on the day, but lately it's been a lot of meetings, a lot of working on proposals. Like we have a lot of projects we're working on right now, so like just making sure I'm prepared for that. But as well, like for me, watching a lot of videos on like entrepreneurship, on like as a visual artist, like I'm always watching like latest techniques on like how to improve my work. For me, like I love spending time with my family as well. So like or people that I care about. So like I always take the time as well. It's like an hour a day just to like spend time with people I care about. But it's always about me and working out too. Like that's another big thing too. Like people don't take care of their bodies.
Yeah.
Like health is wealth. Like it's such a cliche thing to say. Like for me, like I hadn't been working out for like 6 months, and then I recently started getting back. Like and I could feel like the difference immediately. It's like you're just more energized. Like you just your body feels better. Like if you don't eat right, if you don't work out, like it's small things like that that people don't tell you or you hear it, but it seems like such a cliche. Like
And you don't take it serious.
exactly until you get sick. Like you know, like if you get sick today, like you can't do the things that you need to do. Like you can't go to work, you can't make that money, or you can't follow your dreams, or you can't do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, definitely.
And following up with that, I wanted to ask one more question.
Yeah.
What's your why? So I know your why for your company,
Uh-huh.
but maybe like your motivation. So like some days where you feel like, you know, I don't want to do this or I'm tired or
Uh-huh.
what's that thing that's kind of like motivating you, keeping you here and keeping you going?
For me, it's being my own boss and having the freedom to do the things I wanted to do.
Nice.
I think for me, like again, like I saw a lot of things where it's like my parents like worked like the typical business like jobs where it's like I could see them being unhappy, but they were doing it for us. Like my dad worked at Coca Cola. It's a very big corporation. It's like you're just like such a small, insignificant. You're just a number to them. You're just an employee number to them. Where it's like they could replace you tomorrow. Like everything is like business as normal. Like I hated giving someone that power of like controlling what I was doing, the things I was working on, and like I saw like how much time he sacrificed with us. Like we never really spent time with them. Like I didn't want that life. And like, I wanted to be in control to do the things that I wanted to do. Like I didn't want to be able to like, I didn't want to walk into a 9 to 5 and like, okay, like you have to do this by a certain time. This is how I want to do it. Like I wanted to say, okay, if I feel like going on holiday today, I can do it. You know.
Like you're in control.
Exactly, I'm in control. Like I work on the projects I want to do, and it's like I can experiment on different things too. Like you know, it's like. And I guess I've always wanted to have like that freedom to do the things I want to do and just like try new things out.
Definitely.
You don't have that security or like that luxury when you're working in most corporations, unless you work in a startup.
That's true.
Definitely. And I think people get that twisted a lot.
Yeah.
People, when they see those ads, like you said, on social media or online, where they see make $1 million, your life will be better or whatever.
Exactly.
It's not always about making $1 million. It's more about freedom or having control. Like, you don't have to make millions of dollars. Maybe just a little more than what you're getting paid now, or even what you're getting paid now, but having the freedom and control of doing whatever you want.
And it's so true. Like a lot of people, especially nowadays, don't think like you can make money with your passion. Like you can make money with anything.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it just goes back to that belief because they haven't been told by other people, like their parents, whoever they hang out with, that it's possible. I think that's the big thing.
And that's the thing. Like you look at if you look at all the products that we have, or even the services, like there's a lot of dumb things that people are making money off of. Like it's think of something like a shaker bar. The guy who came up with that, like, he's making money off of that. Airbnb, like.
Bro, or even like something as stupid as a fidget spinner, right?
Right.
Like,
Exactly. That guy made money and
It's like
millions,
it's
bro.
insane.
It's insane.
Once you tap into your creative self.
That's the thing, bro. That this is 6 cents, right?
Right.
And that's the thing too, like it's a misconception that people think I'm not creative. Like we're all creative. It's just like there's different ways that you're creative. It's like just getting to know yourself. It's like having the people around you to help you. Like if you know you're not, I'm not an artist. Like I hate painting and like drawing. Like I'm not good at that. But if I needed someone to do that, I know I'd have to go speak to someone.
Yeah.
I hate accounting. Like I wouldn't do that myself, but I know I would go to someone like that. So it's, again, like going back to like, you being self-aware, like knowing what you're good at,
Yeah.
and then having people around you who can cover your weaknesses and make you better.
Tight.
Yeah, that's really important.
So, we're at the end of our podcast, but before we finish off our podcast, we ask our guests to do 2 things. One is a 60-second hustle. We give you 60 seconds to like share something, get something off your chest, maybe a message to a younger version of yourself, or a message you just want to spread to the world. And the second segment is you call out who comes on the show next.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll give you a second.
I guess for me, my 60-second spiel would be yourself. Anyone who knows me knows I'm pretty weird. Like I'm fully accepting of that. Like just be yourself and like just try new things, and just like shoot your shot. Like a lot of people don't actually do things. Like you never know if it's gonna work unless you actually do it. So just like shoot your shot and actually just do it. Just pull the trigger. And, like you'll be surprised like how often things will work. And again, like it's always a no until you ask. So just ask for help. Ask someone for that opportunity. Like you never know unless you actually ask. So just like be yourself and just try new things and just like push yourself to the limit and just have fun doing it too.
Appreciate that.
So next, who are you calling into our show next?
Anybody with passion and story.
With passion. I'm gonna call out my boy Crescent. He's a musician, pretty dope guy. He's making some waves right now. Definitely calling him out. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we're gonna catch you in your DM.
See you soon, Crescent.
And that's it for the podcast, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me, man. This
Yeah.
was a pleasure.
That was an amazing time. Until next time, guys. Thanks for watching.
Peace.